Hey guys, here I am. I said I'd be back today, and so I am, even though it's not technically daytime anymore. And I am fucking shiny and sweaty as balls because it's July and it's 90s, and my air conditioner is fussy, we'll say, so I save it for the nighttime when I go to sleep. Meantime, I sweat my ass off, and that's just the way it is. I don't fuck with makeup too much, so here I am, shiny, sweating, glorious. I want to talk about a saying that I heard today at a meeting, and it said, easy does it, but do it. And I like that a lot because I struggle between, I struggle with procrastination. I talk about self-care a lot, and I think it's important that I rest and that I play and that I take care of myself, but I think that can be a sneaky way of procrastinating or avoiding something or indulging in just laziness or whatever. So I'm always trying to find this balance because I don't think that the way we are conditioned to do things, which is a lot of like efforting and to-do lists and like go get them, that kind of thing, I don't think that's effective either. I know it's not effective. I know it leads to sickness and burnout and all that shit. So I'm just trying to find that happy medium where I feel good and I get shit done in my life that I want to get done, but I'm taking care of myself while I do that. So I am very familiar with that saying, easy does it, but I like that little end piece of, but do it. And that goes along with something I'm practicing or familiarizing myself with, which I was very big on when I first started, and I kind of drifted away from it, and I needed to pull myself back, which is that you just cannot fuck with the effectiveness of baby steps. Baby steps are so crucial. And what does that mean in an art practice, right? So what happens, and this can happen with anything you want to do, right? Like say you want to start working out, but if you can't get to the gym for an hour every day, then it's not worth it. And then what happens? You don't do anything, right? For me, it looks like I want to make a living with my art. I know I want to make art every day. But if I can't make like some kind of masterpiece for an hour or 4 every day in the studio, then it's useless, and I just keep putting it off until I look around and I haven't made art in weeks. So, Martha Beck is someone I talk about a lot. I love her. We have not met, but I love her, and I listen to any interview I can find. I read all of her books. I've read a few of them. I will read all of them someday. But anyways, she has this one called The 4-Day Win, and it's about dieting and body stuff, which is great, but you can apply it to anything. And so I've been applying it to my art practice, and it's just like, it works every time that if I just bite off a little baby bite of something, like she suggests you set a goal to do something for 4 days in a row. It's not enough time to make a habit per se, but it is enough time to start to develop a pattern and see some progress and to just show up for yourself in whatever you're trying to do. And she says to make it so small it's almost laughable. Like, for me, it was like, could I sit at my desk where I make art for 15 minutes and make art? And that seems easy enough, but I know myself enough to know that that might be overwhelming sometimes. And so, per her example, when she talked about making a habit to go to the gym, she talked about when she started, she just drove to the gym. That's all she had to do. She didn't have to get out of the car. She didn't have to work out. And she just did that for 4 days. And then eventually it built up, and she expanded it to where she can't get away from the gym in a healthy way because she likes to work out. So she created that habit for herself. And so that's what I'm doing with my art. And so I challenged myself to just sit down in my studio for 10 minutes. And I told myself I didn't even have to make art. I would just sit there. I have a lot of stuff hung up, like in progress stuff. I could pull something down and look at it if I wanted, but I didn't have to. And lo and behold, I've finished a piece. I think it's finished. It's hard to see. I started this dude. It's Siamese twins. It's conjoined twin fetus skeleton. I had this book of like anomalies, like medical and scientific human anatomy anomalies, and it was awesome and spooky. And I was really struck by that picture of these little babies attached at the skull and the ribs. And this paper, I practiced dyeing it with coffee, which I learned back in my squatter train hopper days from this cool punk rock kid. So I dyed the paper, and then it sat, and then I sketched these little critters on there. And then I fucking looked at it and kind of felt this sadness that I never finished it for years. Fucking years I've toted this thing around not working on it. I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't have the reference picture anymore. And so with this little 4-day habit of just sitting at my desk, no pressure, I ended up pulling this guy down and working on it anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes each night. So, and I've talked about this before. I had discovered this little secret before Martha Beck's book, actually, but I highly recommend everything Martha Beck has ever done, plus this book, 4-Day, I think it's like 4-Day Wins or 4-Day Habits. I'll dig it out and show it to you guys next time I do a video. But anyways, I think I've shared on here before that I have discovered this, I have put this into practice before, like years ago when I got sober and I wanted to start doing yoga. And I was like, oh, I'll go to 3 yoga classes a week, and I never did it, so I wasn't doing any fucking yoga. And then finally I was like, look it, could you just do a pose a night? Just one pose, downward dog, something for just a few breaths every night before you go to bed. And I was like, yeah, I could do that. And now I have a pretty steady yoga practice. It's been a while. Maybe I should start my little baby habits on it again. But over the time, it went from 1 pose a night to a couple a day. And all of a sudden I was doing like 20 minutes every morning, every day, and going to classes here and there. So I just wanted to share, it's been it's funny how things that we know work just kind of slip away, and we have to like remind ourselves of them again, or be reminded of how effective something can be, and like give it a chance, actually give it a chance. So we hear these things, we're like, yeah, I know that works, but I'm not actually going to do it. And that can be really challenging, to just fucking sit your ass in a chair or show up on the mat or wherever you need to be and just do it, even if it's just for 30 seconds. Even if it's laughably small, just try it and see how it builds and see what happens. Because I'm really happy that I've had my ass sat down at my desk every night making art. And it's super motivating and it's really inspiring, and I feel like I'm going to keep going. Oh, the other key piece of this too is you've got to reward yourself. So Martha's really big on treats. So am I. And so the treat for myself is I went on an artist date, Julia Cameron's work, if you're not familiar with those. I went to the art supply store and I got some gorgeous paper, a huge sheet of it, and I cut it into little origami squares. Look, it's like Tibetan clouds. It's so pretty. If you put the light behind it, it turns this lighter blue and the clouds kind of light up. It's so cool. Anyways, I had this hankering to do some origami. I know it sounds silly, but it's just something that I like to do once in a while, but I don't let myself because there's all these other important things to do instead. So I decided that would be my reward. Every time the timer went off and I had made my art for that night, I got to make a little origami crane. And so after tonight, I'm going to have 4 of them. And after you do your 4-day win, you get a little bit bigger of a reward. So I actually got 2 sheets of really pretty paper. I'm going to make a 5th crane, and I'm going to string them together and give them to someone that I love. So you pick your goal, make it specific. It's recommended to do it at the same time every time. So I've been sitting down at 8:30 every night. And I make it really important. Like, I put it in my calendar like it's an appointment with my boss or someone I really value. And I show up for myself. And then I sit down and I do this simple thing. And I give myself my little reward after. And then I give myself a bigger reward after 4 days. And it's super inspiring. And I actually have a couple 4-day win things running right now. And I'm loving it. I'm feeling really happy. So there you go. Easy does it, but do it. Find a tiny, easy way to get started and just see what happens. So thanks for watching. I hope you're having a great night. Hopefully it's not as sweaty as my evening is. Wish I was doing something more exciting than just sitting around sweating, but hey, it'll come. All right. This got weird. Okay, have a good night. Bye.